So this morning we continue in 1 Samuel. We'll pick up today at chapter 16, and this is when God asks Samuel to anoint David as king. Hear now the word of the Lord. The Lord said to Samuel, "How long will you grieve over Saul? I have rejected him from being king over Israel. Fill your horn with oil and set out. I will send you to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided for myself a king among his sons." Samuel said, "How can I go? If Saul hears of it, he will kill me." And the Lord said, "Take a heifer with you and say, 'I have come to sacrifice to the Lord.' Invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you what you shall do, and you shall anoint for me the one who I name to you." Samuel did what the Lord commanded and came to Bethlehem. The elders of the city came to meet him, trembling, and said, "Do you come peaceably?" He said, "Peaceably, I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Sanctify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice." And he sanctified Jesse and his sons and invited them to the sacrifice. When they came, he looked on Eliab and thought, "Surely the Lord's anointed is now before the Lord." But the Lord said to Samuel, "Do not look on his appearance or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For the Lord does not see as mortals see. They look on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart." Then Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel. He said, "Neither has the Lord chosen this one." Then Jesse made Shammah pass by, and he said, "Neither has the Lord chosen this one." Jesse made seven of his sons pass before Samuel, and Samuel said to Jesse, "The Lord has not chosen any of these." Samuel said to Jesse, "Are all of your sons here?" And he said, "There remains yet the youngest, but he is keeping the sheep." And Samuel said to Jesse, "Send and bring him, for we will not sit down until he comes here." He sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy and had beautiful eyes and was handsome. The Lord said, "Rise and anoint him, for this is the one." Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the presence of his brothers, and the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon David from that day forward. Samuel then sent out and went to Ramah. So last week we heard about how God called Samuel, and here this week we see how God continues using Samuel to accomplish his will. He asks Samuel to do a very dangerous task, to go behind the sitting king, Saul, who we know is very dangerous, and anoint a new king without him knowing. Now Samuel doesn't want to do this. He's in disbelief that God is asking him to do something so dangerous, but he ends up listening and does what God asks. I feel like we hear a lot of these stories, Jonah, Moses, stories where we just accept these as an interesting call story without actually thinking about what it took to accomplish the task that God asks. When Samuel gets to Bethlehem, he has to immediately announce that he comes peaceably. The elders come to him trembling, asking if he comes in peace, and he does. And so that shows us that peace is not the status quo, that there is a lot of violence happening. And then God tells Samuel this foreshadowing piece of advice or information about how God doesn't see people how man sees. God sees on the inside, but man sees on the outside. So now Samuel is ready to pick who God's decide is the new king. He knows it's one of Jesse's sons, but they pass by one and then another, and pretty soon they've passed through 7 sons. This must have felt confusing to Samuel. And not only confusing, but also probably annoying and frustrating. This task is taking a really long time, and Samuel has said yes, he's done what God's asked, and this is becoming a really difficult task. Not only is it dangerous, but it's just not making sense. So we don't know how long this process took, Maybe it was all in one day, or maybe this was a longer journey to find all these sons and assess them to see if they were who God wanted. But I can just imagine that there isn't much about this that Samuel deems fun or enjoyable. It's a dangerous task, a time-consuming one, an annoying one. And for what? What's in it for Samuel? This isn't even something that will personally affect Samuel on a day-to-day basis. I mean, it will on the large scale, but this is a task that will help the whole, the others, the people of the nation, for justice and peace. But for Samuel himself, will it really change his day-to-day life? Probably not. I think there are a couple core themes we can take from this story. The first one is one that we talk about a lot. This idea that God does things upside down. God doesn't pick who the world thought he would pick. God sees what's on the inside, which is many times not what we see. But since this is a message we preach a lot, I want to look at another core theme. I think something we can learn from Samuel is this idea of spiritual stamina. How do we continue to be faithful and grow our spirituality when it is tiring and laborious and difficult? How do we keep going when our efforts seem to bear no fruit? How do we find ourselves wanting to be faithful to God because we desire to and not out of obligation? This last question is the one I find the most interesting. How do we follow God's call out of a desire or a genuine want rather than an obligation? Rather than because it's the faithful thing to do or because that's what it means to be a good Christian. If you are like me, doing something because we're supposed to do it isn't a good enough reason to get me to do something. Sometimes you might be doing things just because that's what it looks like to be faithful. And that's not bad, that's okay. But I think we should still be reminding ourselves why we should want to do these tasks that God calls us to do. Like in a relationship, sometimes you do something for the other because you love them. And that love feels so real, it's easy to do. But then there's other times that you do something for the other because it's the right thing to do. You are choosing the action of love over the feeling of love. But just because love becomes a choice doesn't mean it stops giving you the benefits of loving someone. So what do I mean by that? We love others and God and follow God's call because it's the loving thing to do. But I think we keep doing it because it makes us feel good. Hard work feels good. Knowing you made a difference in someone's life feels good. It gives you purpose and meaning and joy. Theodore Roosevelt said, "Nothing in the world is worth having or worth doing unless it means effort, pain, difficulty." Others have said things like, if it's not scary, it's not worth it. If it's not hard, it's not worth it. These sayings come from people's experiences. Loving God is hard. Loving others is hard and scary, and yet it is worth it. Now, the thing is, sometimes it doesn't seem worth it. Sometimes it just feels like work. Volunteering just feels like something that is taking time away from you. Giving money feels like it's just taking resources away from you. It doesn't feel like it's giving you anything back. And I think when this happens, when it doesn't seem worth it, it is because we have become too wrapped up in ourselves and our own little worlds. Now, this might be by force. This might not be by choice. Maybe you are struggling with your mental health or your financial situation or an unhealthy relationship. These are very real things that can sometimes distract you and overwhelm you so much that you don't have the ability to look outside of your own life. There are things happening in your world that trick you into thinking that doing things for others will not benefit you. And again, sometimes this happens because life happens. Life happens to all of us. And the reality of our situation makes it feel like we are just trying to stay afloat. And this is a reality for many people. And then there's other times that I think we willingly let ourselves fall into our own little worlds. We let ourselves be swallowed by the unhealthiness of social media, or we succumb to the pressure of overworking in our society, or we bend under the shame of feeling like an inept parent. Unfortunately, we really only see and feel the benefit of loving others when we ourselves are living a healthy, wholesome life. And that nowadays can feel like a luxury. So if we want to have spiritual stamina like Samuel, we have to focus on ourselves first. Like the airplane metaphor of putting your own mask on first. We're going to talk about how to be selfish so that we can be selfless. In my Monday meditations, our meditations have taken on this theme of how our own peace can create peace for other people. How our own tranquility and calmness can actually create peace and tranquility in the world. It's this idea that just the act of getting ourselves in a healthy state is a faithful act unto the world. Sophie often says, worry about yourself. And I think, how much of the world's chaos would become harmony if people focus on getting themselves in a great place? If they just worried about themselves. And it sounds counterintuitive, but I think by worrying about yourself, then you can actually worry about other people. And I believe this is a very faithful act in these times. I believe doing this will give you spiritual stamina that you need in this overwhelming, anxietizing, distressing world that we live in. So how do we be selfish in a way that helps us become selfless? The first thing that I think you need to do, that we all need to do, is to get to know yourself. You can't fill your cup or have God fill your cup unless you know what you need. So get to know what gives you rest, what gives you joy, what makes you feel empowered, what gives you energy, what gives you hope. And then on the flip side, get to know what sucks away your energy, what depresses you. By learning these things, you are one step closer to making your life healthier. So for me, paying attention to myself, I know that going to dinner with a friend does wonders. And how do I know this? I can tell this because when I come home, even if it's late, I'm energized. I'm not tired. Normally I'm tired at 8:30 or 9. Ask John, it drives him crazy. But when I go out with a friend and I come home and it's 10, I feel like the night's just beginning. My wheels are spinning, I'm feeling good, not because of the wine. It's all about paying attention to myself. You know, I'm asking myself, why do I feel this way? Why does this feel different than other times? And I've done that enough to know that social interaction is something that fuels me. It's a need that I have for me to be healthy. And then this second one, you can make fun of me all you want, but I'm in good company. Kylie left, she would be on my side here, but I've been listening to the new Taylor Swift album, and if I'm in the car by myself, I have found a few times now, one of her songs will make me cry. It's just this emotion bubbling up beneath the surface that this song allows to come out. And it's always the same song. And I haven't figured out why yet, I'm not sure, but I don't cry much. And I know myself and know to pay attention to that. To pay attention, what is it about this song, about listening to music? Is it being alone? Is there something about these lyrics? What is it that's stirring up this emotion? These songs are cathartic to me. They are a way to express myself and emote and process. So these are just two different things that I've thought about this past week that give me a way to be healthier. Things that I know that I need to improve my life so that I have more time and energy and space for the rest of the world. I'm not sure what these are for you, but I would invite you to pay extremely close attention to your reactions to people and events and experiences. They will give you a lot of the information that you need. So the first thing was get to know yourself. The second thing is make time or space to incorporate these needs into your life once you identify them. And this may require asking for help, which is a good thing you belong to a church community that would love nothing more than helping you get your needs met. Even if it seems off the wall or trivial, ask us, ask Pastor Alex and I, and let's see if we can help you get your needs met. You maybe have seen me asking a question in the Monday email, and lots of people email me with their answers. And one of the things I see most in this church, or any church, but this one from these emails, is that church helped people become healthier. It helped them grieve. It helped them recover from something. It helped them become more whole. And a lot of that had to do with letting the church and God in their lives, letting themselves be helped. So the first was get to know yourself, to find your needs. The second is make time and space to get those needs met. And the third one is practice spiritual rituals. Some of these rituals have been around since the earliest desert mothers and fathers. We know some of these that are more popular, like journaling, meditations, silent retreats. But one that I want to pay special attention to today is a labyrinth. I don't know how many of you guys know what a labyrinth is. It is a way for you to pray while walking through a circular design that gets you to the center, and then you come back out. And it's supposed to be meditative. Recently, there was a story on CBS called Circles in the Sand. I linked it in the Still Voice. The Still Voice is in the back of your bulletin, but if you go online, you'll also get an email for it tomorrow morning. There's a link there that takes you to this video. There was this video about a man who on the beaches in Oregon started making these elaborate labyrinths. Twice a day, the tides create a clean slate on the sand for this man to make these labyrinths, and they have become a tourist attraction. This man's name is Denny, and he started doing this for his own meditation. And it turned out a lot of other people also wanted this for their life. So now hundreds of people show up to walk these labyrinths, and many people show up to volunteer with him to make these labyrinths. The day starts with what they call a dedication circle, and it ends with the tide washing away the labyrinths. One woman said it reminds them that everything is pretty temporary, to be in the now, and to watch what happens next. Today, we have a labyrinth outside. In the scout lot, if you go out there, there is a temporary labyrinth as well. It's drawn in chalk paint, so this labyrinth will be there until the rain washes it away. It might rain tonight, so maybe try to use the labyrinth before that. We might be able to touch it up depending on how much, and it'll still be there tomorrow and the coming days. But I invite you all to walk this labyrinth. It can be after church, or you can come back another time this day, especially if the Eagles are losing and you need to get out. Go walk the labyrinth. I might be there. But a labyrinth is all about releasing control, releasing the need to find a solution for something, releasing stress and burdens. It's a time where you attentively walk with the intention of spending time with the Holy Spirit. This time set apart in the outdoors can help you strengthen those spiritual muscles. It can help you become more in tune with yourself, more in tune with the Holy Spirit, more in tune with God's call on your life. And in a world filled with so much noise, I invite you to take some time to be quiet and give God a chance to speak to you. For better or worse, God normally doesn't speak to us like he did in the Bible. It's often a still, small voice if you can hear it at all. So for us, in this day and age, being faithful means creating ways for God to speak to you and learning how to listen, and then being bold enough to follow through. And in order for any of that to happen, we have to be healthy and whole enough to allow God to enter in. So if you find yourself looking to have some more quiet time, to get to know what a labyrinth is, by the labyrinth there is a box where there is a sheet in there that tells you how to use a labyrinth step by step. It also gives you some background on a labyrinth, and it gives you some resources about permanent local labyrinths in the area. So even if you don't have time to walk the labyrinth today, I would invite you by the scout lot to go pick up one of those flyers. Amen.